So we've had several conversations before, and the reason that you're here today is because you wanted to learn more about us as a company, but then also about our managed print services offering. So what we're going to talk about now is a little bit about our managed print services strategy, our methodology, and our solutions that we have to offer. So what you've told us in the past is that you've got an aging fleet, and that's putting a burden on your IT people and your staff, machines breaking down too often and causing headaches. Also, your security department has identified machines, print machines, as being a security risk. And then also you want to long-term, or 3 to 5 years, improve your business process. So we can help you with that as well. That's a priority for you. So I wanted to explain, because of those, some things about our business process assessment. So what's important is the fact that companies that can get ahead of their competition in the sense of putting, assessing their environment, looking for ways to save money in regards to printing and everything, are really going to be ahead of their competition. And so one of the things that one way to do that is to look at your fleet and design it around the way your people do business. And we look at document workflow and your business processes and your policies and all of these things, and then we develop a plan around that. This is interesting because what this talks about is the life cycle of a document. And where most people, this breaks it down as to where the potential, where the costs are and where also the potential savings could be. So if you look at the infrastructure here, that's your visible hard costs. That's what everybody is aware of. That's your equipment, supplies, maintenance, all of those things, how much you're paying for clicks and all of that. And then management, secondarily, people look at that sometimes, and that is, all the IT support that is needed to support those devices. That adds up to 25%. Most companies only focus there. They say, I want to, save money on my print costs, and they're focusing in those two areas. Where the real savings is the rest of the pie here. And that is your administrative and purchasing and facilities costs. That could be the number of invoices that you process. And because you have so many devices with so many different companies, you're getting a whole lot of invoices. And the industry average says that it costs about $11 to pay a single invoice. So if you add all that up, it really behooves you to, consolidate devices, go with single vendors when you can, and things like that really help your administrative costs. End user time is a big one, because that, again, if you have equipment that has like a standard user interface, it decreases the amount of training time and the amount of problems people have figuring out how to use a machine, and all those things add up. And then also having the right devices where they're able to get their job done faster and more efficiently and go back to doing that, as opposed to having to mess with the device itself. Then the last area where there's the most amount of savings is basically workflow and managing your documents. And we can talk about that because we have solutions for that as well. But basically, once you're done with the document, how you manage it when you need to retrieve it or store it for a certain amount of years and things like that. There's a lot of cost associated with that people really don't realize. And we can help automate that process and also really help with decreasing any storage fees and things like that. So what most people do is, again, they focus on that 25% and saving 10 to 30%, with managed print services of 25% of their total cost. Or would you prefer to partner with a company who can help you save 10 to 30% on 100% of the cost of the document lifecycle? So this is how we do it, through our managed print services strategy. And this is that 3-step process that I talked about when we were talking about the paper wall, about how you optimize the infrastructure, get the right hardware in place first. And then you talk about the people and managing the environment and having people use the devices in the way that help them get their job done. Where the largest amount of savings is improving the workflow and automating those processes, instead of having them continue to be paper-based, where there's a lot of expense. So you can save 10% typically down here on getting the right backbone of the hardware, and then you can save a little bit more, 15% or so, on the people management part of it. But the biggest savings is automating those processes, getting out of the paper-based processes and automating those workflows. So the way the four-step process that we do to go about this is, the first thing we do is obviously we come in and analyze your environment. You know, we look at how you're doing running the business and how documents are flowing through the business, how things are set up currently. And then we, you know, we can do that through surveys, you know, talking to your people, of course. We have a data collection agent that I'll actually show you when we go out on the demo floor to collect device, to give us some historical information about, you know, your print environment. And this all gives us a bench line and baseline so that, you know, moving forward, we have something to compare it to show you what your cost savings are and how things have improved. And then the next step is obviously based on that information we gather, we plan and propose ways to improve it. And that could be through a best-in-class portfolio. And what that means is because we're not a manufacturer, we represent the best-in-class of multiple manufacturers. So, you know, Canon, HP, Samsung, you know, whatever, Xerox, whatever it is that best fits your needs, we have that available to us because we're not set with just being a manufacturer and that's the only thing we have to offer. We have multiple things to pull from to get you what you need. Then we have the facts that were pulled from the data collection agent to base our proposal upon. We have actual fact-based evidence basically to make those. And then partnerships and all of these things play into like a print policy. We give you an example and help you develop policies moving forward so that you don't eventually go back to the way it was just because people are used to that. And then we have a master schedule for deployment, you know, how this would all roll out. And then a contract that really kind of outlines the responsibilities, yours and ours, and how we work together, and, you know, the plan basically. So then deployment and transition, this is really where our experience comes in. Because we've done this multiple times at other locations, we have examples and history to pull from and things like that that really make transitions moving forward for everybody else go much more smoothly, things that we've learned. And so that's project management. We actually use a Gantt chart that outlines all of the responsibilities and who's involved, and so that nothing falls through the cracks. And you know, our different solutions that are putting in there. And then change management, you know, we provide signs like, let me show you. For instance, these kind of things to help with change management, you know, with, you know, giving some explanations of our, why we're doing things, you know, the print policy and various things like that. We have things like this printed up, so that helps. You know, we put them near the machines or whatever it's called for to help people understand why things are being done and how it benefits them. Okay. And then the last step is manage and innovate. We don't just, you know, do our thing and then leave. What we do is we stay involved and we have quarterly reviews. So what that does is we then come back and, you know, talk about how things are going and make sure things aren't doing device creep, going back to the way it was. We present you a lot of data about trends, and you know that, you know, so much has decreased in printing since this was implemented and things like that. Give suggestions on things moving forward of additional ways to save or manage, or, you know, whatever might be called for. And also the single point of contact is nice because you have one person to come to no matter what it is, and then that person within the company can go and gather whatever resources might be needed for whatever it is you need. Okay, so this is some of the things that we have available to us to help with whatever an issue is. And that is that we have, you know, to help with optimizing the infrastructure, which is that first stage, is we have a data collection agent, and I kind of referred to that, where that gathers a lot of information about what's being printed on what device, and it gives us information about devices that might be over or underutilized, which is costing you money. This is all how we gather some of that information that we use then to make the recommendation. And then, you know, we represent HP, Samsung, Canon, and they all have their own software that provides different information on how to manage the devices, and you can remotely configure some devices and all that. And I'll show you some of these when we go out on the demo floor. And then Prio Printelligence is another way to gather user information. So we have all these things available to us. And then for the managed environments, stage 2, we have a lot of software that basically provides additional security, device authentication, so we know who is actually doing what at what device, and job cost accounting if you want to do chargebacks, or just, basically let people know how much a print job is going to cost just for their awareness. A lot of people don't realize it costs a lot more to print to a color device than a black and white. It's kind of an educational thing where they get a screen, and it's just, now they know moving forward. So these are all some things we have available to us as well. Mobile printing is becoming, something that people are very interested in because everyone has their smartphone, and so they need ways to print from that sometimes. So we have those solutions as well. And then improving the workflow, of course, this is our largest cost savings, as I've mentioned several times. And we have different ways of going about automating your paper-based workflows through LinkDoc, which is electronic forms, and then Laserfish, which really is collaborative and automates a lot of workflows. And I'm going to show you a couple of them: accounts payable process and expense report. Those tend to be two of the really kind of painful processes that companies deal with, and so I'm going to show you how Laserfish can really make that very simple. And then FileBound is actually a cloud-based solution for documents. Okay, any questions?